from Global Business. Fruitful results. More than 130 cooperative agreements have been reached in the middle of the ongoing China International Import Expo in Shanghai. Booster for ties. Chinese Premier Li Qiang welcomed visiting Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese as the two leaders issued a joint statement on the resumption of their annual dialogue. In strong recovery, the International Monetary Fund has raised its 2023 economic growth forecast for China to 5.4%, attributing the increase to a robust post-COVID recovery. Well, from CGTN headquarters here in Beijing, this is Global Business. I'm Lily Lu. We begin our program with a look at the ongoing China International Import Expo, or the CIIE, which is significantly enhancing business and cultural exchanges. And to date, more than 20 provinces and cities have hosted events at this year's CIIE, fostering business collaborations and investment opportunities. Additionally, 95 relevant activities are currently in progress. The expo also serves as a platform for cultural events, with 83 events already held. Despite being only halfway through, more expo participants are eagerly participating for the next edition. Over 140 representatives from 60 enterprises have already secured their tickets for the 7th CIIE, recognizing its substantial impact on their businesses. Now let's hear Liu Fuxue, Deputy Director of CIIE Bureau.
So far, we have organized 60 industrial-specific business matching meetings involving 226 exhibitors and 345 buyers. Together, they have established 137 cooperative agreements. Additionally, the introduction of new products has become more frequent. Up to this point, we have conducted 49 launch events in the new product release section, with 42 exhibitors unveiling new products, technologies, and services for the first time globally in Asia or in China.
And for the first time, a delegation of U.S. government officials is attending this year's China International Import Expo in Shanghai. Well, this comes as participating U.S. companies express optimism over the China market, especially in the healthcare sector. U.S. companies have been long-time participants since the expo's inaugural edition in 2018. CGTN caught up with some American exhibitors to share their hopes and expectations.
We will continue to invest as we have done to date. To date, we've invested about 1.8 billion RMB in research, manufacturing, facilities, and training. And our plan is to continue with those types of investments. The China market is extremely important. We believe that we have the opportunity to bring the best minimally invasive care to the Chinese population. And so with our innovation and our work to expand access to the technology, we think we can have an impact.
Lilly's been around for over 147 years with that mission around making life better for people globally all over the world. Today we have over 20 local partners, and we try to bring all of our resources, our people, our expertise, our experience to the local biotechs to enable them to accelerate their innovation. Our goal is simultaneous drug development, and China's role in that is tremendous. We're going to continue that commitment to research and development. Over the next few years, between now and 2030, Lilly is going to provide a really unique opportunity for the people here in China. That is over 40 new medicines delivering better, healthier, happier lives for people living all over China.
Edwards has been in China for over 20 years. And during these years, we introduced more than 20 products in China. This year is actually the 4th consecutive year Edwards have participated in CIIE. We released the first 1,000 patients that's been implanted with the S3 implant in China. So we have shown that the results has been very excellent with the. We would also, like I said, we'll certify our TOT COE training programs. Hopefully, we will continue to use CIE as a platform for us to promote our most innovative products that can serve the Chinese patients, and also showcase our company culture, our patient-centric values.
Well, the CIIE has also garnered attention beyond China's borders. To get more insights on this, we cross over to John Terry in New York and Chawala Yongjinon in Bangkok. Let's go to John first in New York. John, is there a positive response from the U.S. side regarding this event?
Well, there really isn't. Just listen to the previous speaker. I think the way that man was speaking about getting the new drugs to the Chinese people in the future pretty much sums up everything you need to know. And I think also Nick Burns, who's the Biden administration ambassador to Beijing at the moment, said something very similar when he spoke at the Import Expo within the past 24 hours ago, saying the U.S. is not in favor of decoupling. You know, Lily Lu, this is this awful thing where some academics are talking about the U.S. and China completely separating themselves from trade and economic affairs. We know in the business community it is not going to happen, but it's a major talking point here in the US. And Nick Burns said the trade and economic relationship between Beijing and Washington was extraordinarily important. It comes as the US sends its strongest delegation to the Import Expo since it got underway in 2018. And these names won't mean very much to you on a one-to-one basis, but listen to the titles. Jason Hafmeister is there. He's the acting deputy undersecretary for Trade and Agricultural Affairs and the Trade Counsel to the Agricultural Secretary of the U.S. Department of Agriculture, which is based right there on the Mall in Washington, D.C., in the heart of the capital. And Wade Shepard is there from the Department of Agriculture as well, senior advisor to all of North Asia. And then beyond that, the U.S. Heartland China Association has sent 20 mayors from the heartland of the country, 20 town, city, and local mayors are there, and they're exploring trade and economic opportunities as well. And beyond that, the US, for the first time since 2018, has its own pavilion. And I've seen a picture of it, and it's enormous, and it's important because it draws the eye, it attracts attention. People wander in, and they get going in conversations, which of course is what it's all about. But that's the first time the US has had a pavilion at the Import Expo since it got underway. Finally, just to reiterate the point, it is all about avoiding decoupling. That's been the message from Secretary of State Antony Blinken, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo, and high-profile visitors to Beijing since January, including Bill Gates of Microsoft and Elon Musk of Tesla. And of course, it comes after Wang Yi, the foreign minister's successful visit with Antony Blinken to Washington, D.C. 2 weeks ago, when, among other things, they agreed to increase the number of flights a week between China and the U.S. from the present 48 to 70. That starts on Thursday, and it's all ahead of the APEC summit in San Francisco next week, at which it is hoped, it's not guaranteed, but it's hoped that President Xi and President Biden will get to meet for the first time since Biden's been president, face to face. Lily Lu?
Oh, great stuff. Thank you so much, John. Let's get over to Chawala in Bangkok. Now, Chawala, how has the CIIE been strengthening trade relations between Thailand and China?
Well, both Thailand and China have had very warm relations historically, and with this event, the CIIE, and also the initiative of the BRI, it's definitely become warmer and stronger. Let's not forget, the first half of this year, the first 9 months of 2023, we saw Chinese investment in Thailand reaching $10 billion US, which is a big jump, about 70% year on year, based on the fact that we've just recently opened up our country following the pandemic. And also, on the other hand, we've had Thai exports going to China, according to China's General Administration of Customers, at $38 billion US for the first half of this year as well. And one of the biggest contributing factors has been the expansion of the BRI initiative. We recently had the China-Thailand Investment Forum held in Beijing as part of the Third Belt and Road Forum for International Cooperation, or BRF, for further relations. And everything so far, given the fact that Thailand has had a bit of a rocky political situation, we've recently had a new government come in, but we've had now ongoing investments, especially in line with Thailand's goal for clean energy, sustainability, a green economy, and ESG, or environmental, social, and governance initiatives. And we've seen this already with Thailand trying to become an EV hub, and Chinese, EV manufacturers, giant EV manufacturers such as BYD and Chang'an, setting up their headquarters and their production bases here in the kingdom. And everything else we also are seeing more advancements in terms of the three value chains of agriculture and food, trade and invention, as well as tourism and service, where we've recently had Thailand's government giving visa-free status for Chinese travelers coming into the country. And also at the end of the day, with this CIIE event, Thailand is very excited indeed to showcase the potential opportunities that there are between the two countries. Thailand is having their own pavilion with 20 innovative food and beverage companies, because one of the core foundational factors of Thailand's economy is the SMEs, or the small and medium-sized enterprises, which is quite similar to the Chinese economy as well. So there's a lot of enthusiasm that there will be more deals, especially at the provincial level, where administrators will be able to explore further initiatives. And at the end of the day, this also showcases the fact that Thailand is very happy to be a part of something that not only where you see China treating, developed countries, but also underdeveloped countries or developing smaller economies equally, and giving them equal opportunities for furthering relations.
Well, great to hear that, and thank you so much for your insights. John Terry in New York and Chawala Yongjinraran in Bangkok for us. Well, the signing ceremony of Central SOE's trade mission was held in Shanghai from Saturday to Monday during the ongoing 6th China International Import Expo. Purchases by China's central state-owned enterprises have hit record highs. A number of China's SOEs believe the CIIE serve as a high-level platform that promotes industry cooperation. Li Mongyuan reports.
Cooperation under the Belt and Road Initiative will further promote China's opening up via this platform.
Sinochem Holdings, the world's leading chemical producer and supplier, signed cooperation agreements with over 30 clients from more than 10 countries and regions, with a total procurement amount of $13.5 billion. Sinomac Group, China's largest machinery manufacturer, is responsible for recruiting investment and exhibitors to the technology and equipment exhibition area this year.
We are on the way of developing new industrialization. We have introduced a lot of advanced equipment from overseas. This year we have invited more guests and had a very lively signing ceremony. I think what we are doing is very meaningful.
As the largest state-owned enterprise in the tourism sector, China Tourism Group actively engages itself with the Belt and Road Initiative, capitalizing on the positive long-term trend on the international tourism industry.
The number of signings this year is the highest in our company's history. The amount has made a double-digit percentage increase from last year. As the largest state-owned tourism enterprise, our company has gradually increased the cooperation with the Belt and Road partner countries in the past few years.
China Southern Airlines has been a sponsor of the CIIE for 6 consecutive years, making all-out efforts to meet travel needs of domestic and international exhibitors and passengers.
China Southern Airlines has signed 24 import procurement projects with 20 large international manufacturers and suppliers. The transaction value is expected to hit new high. We are working to serve the national strategy of opening up and do our best to help the CIIE become more successful and achieve win-win situation with our partners.
The merchants also believe that the CIIE serves as a high-level platform that promotes industry cooperation and facilitates the introduction of high-quality products and technology under the Belt and Road Initiative. Chinese state-owned companies are ready to embrace new opportunities in the years to come. Li Mongyuan, CGTN.
Shifting gears now, turning our attention to the rejuvenation of Sino-Australian relations. Chinese Premier Li Qiang warmly received Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese during his official visit on Tuesday. Li emphasized that Albanese's meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping offered vital strategic guidance for advancing their bilateral ties. The two leaders jointly issued a statement outlining the renewal of their annual dialogue and committed to expanding discussions across various various sectors. Both nations reiterated the significance of the China-Australia Free Trade Agreement and expressed their dedication to strengthening economic and trade connections. China and Australia are eager to bolster collaboration in traditional fields like energy and minerals, as well as venture into new areas like green development, digital economy, technology innovation, and healthcare. Together, the two sides have pledged to tackle global challenges like climate change, food security, and transnational organized crime. Their collective goal is to safeguard peace and prosperity on regional and global scales while advancing the comprehensive strategic partnership between the two countries. For more discussions on the China-Australian relations, we are now joined by Jiang Gong, a professor at the University of International Business and Economics. Jiang, so the Australian Prime Minister reiterated his commitment to work constructively with China. How can the economic partnership between these two nations foster regional and global stability?
Thank you very much for having me, firstly. I think Prime Minister Albanese's visit opens up a new page in the China-Australian relationship. We had our difficult times in the past, and I think this administration is opening a new page in terms of promoting trade, in terms of setting aside the political differences, and especially I think putting things behind in terms of the actions the Australian government has taken that is trying to slow down China's development. And I think there's a lot of potential for economic relationship, for economic cooperation between the two sides. Especially, I need to point out that Australia is one of the only few countries, and actually the largest country, that has enjoyed a trade surplus with China. In other words, we run a very large trade deficit with Australia in the amount of about some $60 billion a year, which is a very significant number here. So I think there's a lot of potential for cooperation. Australian products are very popular in China, especially things related to commodities like iron ore, coal, wine as well. And also lobster. Australian lobster used to sell very well in China. I think these things are coming back, and I think with these sort of thorny political issues resolved, I think we're on track to develop more cooperation between the two sides. And I would say that Chinese products also have a very large potential in the Australian market, especially in the new energy vehicle area. And also photovoltaic products, stuff like that, where Chinese companies enjoy very significant advantage on the international markets.
Well, the two sides vow to join hands to address common challenges. How do you think can the two countries, what can we do to boost our joint efforts in ensuring food quality and safety and ultimately promoting bilateral trade?
Yeah, well, I mean, these things are being discussed on the two sides, but I think previously, the relationship is handicapped by the political issues, especially, the previous administration in Australia have, initiated, for example, the AUKUS, the Quad. These initiatives are not so much palatable from China's perspective. But I think, moving forward, I think Australian government got to make some commitment to China that we put these chapters behind us, and that we're more focused on the economic relationship between the two countries. And after all, I would even venture to say that the trade relationship between the two sides, which is very complementary in nature, can potentially serve a balance for the two countries' foreign policy, foreign relations. Especially, from Australians' perspective, if you think about $63 billion of trade surplus, more than $140 billion of exports, and that's a huge market. I don't think the Australian producers, as well as the Australian people, are so much enamored with the idea that they want to do not have a very good relationship with China, which affects the trade relationship as well.
Well, great stuff. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you very much. That's Mr. Jiang Gong from UIBE for us. And still to come here on Global Business, the International Monetary Fund has raised its 2023 economic growth forecast for China to 5.4%, attributing the increase to a robust post-COVID recovery.
The CIIE is back in full force with reinvigorated vitality.
Bienvenidos a China, bienvenidos a Shanghai. Et venez découvrir les produits de qualité du monde entier.
China is committed to opening wider and embracing the world.
مع منصة لعقد صفقات وتكوين صداقات.
Splashaya strany i kultury, zbliżaja cywilizacji.
Carrying on the Silk Road spirit and building prosperity together. Join us for our special coverage of the 6th CIIE, only on CGTN.
China's total goods import and export continued their upward trajectory in October, primarily driven by robust imports. The trade volume surpassed 3.5 trillion yuan, equivalent to nearly $481 billion, marking a 0.9% increase compared to the previous year. This positive momentum reversed the trend for China's foreign trade growth from January to October, shifting from a 0.2% decline in the first 3 quarters to 0.03% year-on-year increase. Notably, China's imports from its major trading partners experienced a significant growth, with imports from the European Union leading the way, surging by more than 5% compared to last October. The International Monetary Fund has raised its 2023 economic growth forecast for China to 5.4%, attributing the increase to a robust post-COVID recovery. Yu Bokun has more.
China's economy is set to grow at 5.4% in 2023, and that is according to economists from the IMF. The organization has just published its latest Article 4 consultation.
We project China's GDP growth to reach 5.4% in 2023, reflecting a strong post-reopening rebound in domestic demand, particularly consumption.
The upwards revision is attributed to the robust third quarter GDP, driven by increased consumer spending, coupled with recent fiscal stimulus measures aimed at stabilizing the economy. The IMF still sees opportunity lying ahead for China's economy.
Opportunities, I think, arise from good fundamentals. I think we think of human capital, we think of good business environment. So we would see these as sort of the first factors for the environment. If you look at China, China has moved up the value chain, has fostered its human capital, has fostered research and development. So we would expect that research and development and innovation will play a greater role.
The report highlights the significance of broad-based and pro-market structural reforms designed to enhance productivity, promote economic rebalancing, and support decarbonization, which will stimulate new sources of economic growth. The Washington-based organization emphasized on Tuesday that sectors dedicated to green development will play a central role in driving China's economic growth in the years ahead.
We are seeing growth that is taking place in sectors like electric vehicles and in the green sector. So we see, for instance, investment in these particular sectors growing at the same time that you're seeing shrinking in investment in the property market.
However, the IMF also acknowledges potential challenges on the horizon that could impede future growth, including an aging population and increasing geoeconomic fragmentation, which may limit medium-term growth prospects. Yu Bokun, CGTN.
Let's take a look at some other business headlines that we're tracking at the hour. China's foreign exchange reserves stood at $3.1 trillion for the month of October. This figure represents a decrease of $13.8 billion compared to the end of September. The country's foreign exchange regulator attributes the decline to a combination of factors, including currency translation effects and fluctuations in asset prices. In a statement released on its website, the People's Bank of China has announced its commitment to continue facilitating access to financial market funds for the real economy. Additionally, the central bank will intensify regulatory measures and proactively address risks to maintain financial stability. Scientists from 25 countries and regions are gathering in Shanghai for in-depth discussions at the ongoing 6th World Laureates Forum. Our anchor Guan Xing talked to Nobel Prize-winning economist Thomas Sargent to get his thoughts over trade disputes and tech competition between the U.S. and China. Take a listen.
In the past 3 years, new trade barriers has tripled, according to IMF, to nearly 3,000 last year.
Yeah.
How would this fragmentation and trade restrictions impact our growth and international collaboration?
You put in trade barriers. One reason you do it is it's not geopolitics. It's because some people in your country can't compete internationally, and they go to the government to try to get protection, to protect local monopolies. That's always, in my own country, that was always a force. Second half of the 20th century, it was a force that was dominated by other interests. But it's actually come back. When the government puts on quotas and trade and subsidies, it makes a whole bunch of people, businessmen who should be producing things and competing, instead they devote a lot of resources to go to the government to try to get a favor. And, it's distorting markets, and it helps themselves at the cost of some of the citizens in their own country.
One thing China is concerned about is the U.S. restriction on the semiconductors to China.
Yeah.
China be very deeply concerned about this because
Me too.
the United States says it is to prevent military use for national security concerns, but it is not very convincing to China. What is your take?
I don't like it. And I think it's, put it this way, I actually think it's in U.S. interest to have, look, China's a big market for these chips. The Intel company and the NVIDIA company, they don't want these restrictions, and they've lobbied against it. Somebody's lobbied in favor of it. But I don't think it's in those companies' interests. China has lots of really good engineers, and if the United States completely cuts China off from chips, they're not going to be cut off, for more than 3, 5, 10 years maximum, and then they're going to be building chips that are better, that are as good or different or better than our chips, and so I think we should be thinking longer ahead. We cannot stop. The history of trying to stop technologies like that, when the other country has lots of really good engineers, you can't stop it permanently. I'm not a national security expert, and I do know sometimes people say national security, and it's not what they really mean. It's hypocrisy. It's like I want to protect the local. I want to protect the local monopoly. I don't want to compete. But the sad thing is that this is one thing the U.S. does well. And
well, with that, we're concluding this edition of Global Business here on CGTN. Thanks for being with us. I'm Lulu in Beijing. Till next time, bye for now.